Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. We're off to another amazing week and another group of pirates. Lou, Sherri, good morning. How are you two doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
It's super early over where you are, isn't it?
It's 7 a.m. Arizona time. And currently, Arizona time is in Pacific Standard Time, so it is a little early. However, it's worth it when I get to talk to people like yourself and connect. And you guys have been coaches and people making a big difference in other people's lives for a number of years. And I just, you're so involved in this coaching and helping other people. So I kind of want to find out, we got the Lou Everett Group. So Lou, you probably want to talk about what was the seed that got planted that brought you to this organization that you have going on here?
No, that's a good question. Well, I mean, it all started really. We both have our own story. Sherri and I are a married couple. We started our first business in 2005, but the idea of helping people and helping them become stronger leaders started when I was very young. My mother would, instead of allowing me to listen to my own cassette tapes in the car while she was dropping me off at the friend's house or school when I was just a preteen, she would be popping in tapes of Tony Robbins or John Maxwell or Zig Ziglar, so that's what I had to listen to.
That's a great foundation.
Yeah. And little did I know then that she was really teaching me and grooming me for something bigger than I realized at the time. So it's always been something on my mind. And Sherri has always been, she can tell her part of that too, but we both have had a kind of a root, if you will, of really wanting to do what we can to add value to people.
Fantastic. What about you, Sherri? You have another story about your journey and how you got to where you are?
Yeah, I mean, the earliest story that I love to share is something that my mom always reminds me of is, we grew up in a neighborhood, neighborhood kids. We would just go out almost every day, playing games, right? And here I was, like the littlest one out of all of them, and here I was telling them what to do, or the leader of the pack. And my mom would look out the window and just try to laugh her head off, and and here I was telling them what to do.
So you don't have to be big to be a leader, right?
Right.
At that age, it's more of like do as I say, not as I do. But
yeah. That's fun because so many people nowadays are looking for direction. They're looking for someone to give them an answer, and sometimes it's you got to stop and think a while and discover what that answer is for yourself.
Right.
And a lot of people think they also need permission. So when you're thinking about that journey for yourself, what would you part to influence others, younger ones that are struggling with what they're going to do with their life, what they're going to achieve, what are they going to think about, where do they want to go? Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, John Maxwell. That's a great influence. That's a foundation. Not everybody has that. So what are your suggestions or recommendations for people that are searching for leadership?
Well, the first thing is to remember that leadership is about influence. That's really all it is. It's really nothing more, nothing less. It's influence. It's how you influence people and those around you. And so as a young leader, use the resources and people around you that are what you aspire to be, that are proven positive influencers around you, and learn from them. Boy, if I'd have just took a little bit more time to learn from those around me when I was in my very first leadership role, I really would have learned a lot more faster than I did.
Sure.
And probably eliminated some of the failures, right? But I would say right off the bat, remember that leadership is influence. That's number one. Number two, use your resources of those around you. it's okay to ask for help. And that's the challenge. Sometimes we don't want to ask for help. We think that that's a weakness, and it's not. That's actually that's one of the number one strengths of a true influential leader, is being able to ask for help, because you need people. Yeah, you need people. So those are the two things that I would recommend.
Well, I also want to remind people that leadership doesn't have anything to do with your title either.
Right.
Like you're alluding to. It's anybody can lead if they take the initiative to step into that position of leadership.
Absolutely.
Sherri, what are your thoughts for individuals that are looking to at least become more confident about their own abilities? Confidence is something that helps build leadership, because you have to have a certain level of, not arrogance, but confidence to become a leader, and ask people, hey, go out there, you can do this, and this is what we need to do. Go huddle. And so what are your recommendations or your thoughts around that subject?
That is key, because really the biggest advice is that personal development, and we can't lead others unless you lead yourself. And I found that out. I wish I had done it a little bit earlier than later, but hey, it is what it is. But I think in our opinion, and even our experience, is that when you know yourself, that's where that inner confidence comes in. And then once you have that confidence, everything just falls in line with it. Now, I also want to preference too that not everybody wants to be a leader or even has characteristics of a leader, and that's okay, because if we have all leaders, that's kind of the expression of like, we got too many cooks in a kitchen kind of thing, and that can be nerve-wracking. But we do need workers, we need people, we do need in that sense, but here's the kicker: they're still a leader in their own, and they're still influencing your peers. So, and leading yourself.
No matter what role you're in.
No matter what role you're into. So I think that's amazing. But personal development, on the short answer, definitely is a great thing. Looking and be careful on who you allow in and speak into your life. And
that's a big one.
And I love the quote from Jim Rohn, you are the average of the 5 people that you're around. And that is so true. And you don't know that sometimes until you step away, and then you're like, whoa, like what happened?
It's true.
So
that resonates so well, because so many times we're stuck in this group of individuals that we just seem like we're not fitting in with. And when you change the people you hang out with, and you change who you're listening to, even if it's virtual, there's a lot of great leaders that are past, and a lot of great wisdom that you can read books or listen to audio tapes, or tapes age me, but you can stream on Spotify or Audible. The reality is that you have to absorb and listen to other influences that are ahead of you, or at least giving you some of the information you need to help your self-awareness. Self-awareness is really about how you can actually change yourself. How can you become a different person and take some of this education and move forward with it.
Right.
So it's really a powerful tool when you change the people that you're listening to. So it's
well, we grow, don't we? As we grow, our viewpoints change, our goals change, right? And especially if we're developing ourselves, I'd say there's one way to and I challenge every listener out there. There's one way to make it to determine who the people that you surround yourself with that will continue to follow you where the path that you go and still be connected to you. The way you find that out is make a determined effort and dedicate yourself to your own personal growth. You will see significant change, and not just your own growth, but you're going to see significant change in the people that you begin to surround yourself with, or those that are around you already. Yeah. Because of the direction that you're going, which is what you want to have happen.
And so my experience is different things show up in your world. Things that you never had imagined before When you start changing your perspective, you start changing your attitude, you start changing what you're bringing into your world in terms of education and influence and information.
Yeah,
it changes everything.
yes, it
I want
does.
to give a shout out to Jenny Gold. Hi,
Hey.
Sherri and Lou. She's in there.
Hey,
She's
Jenny.
out there. Good morning, all, and Russ. Thank you
Good
so
morning.
much for being here, Jenny. And we got. I'm not gonna James. I'm just gonna call you James.
Yeah.
Really
All
interesting.
right.
Absolutely. And then
Good.
Russ Hedge in from Oregon. Thank you,
Nice.
Russ,
Hey,
for
Russ.
joining us. How you doing, man? Great info as always. Thank you, Russ, Sherri, and Lou.
You
Appreciate
bet.
you, Russ. One of the things that I think, a lot of people the last couple of years, obviously, there's been a lot of change, a lot of challenge, a lot of people evolving and thinking about what's really important in their world.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, whether it be family or more time with your kids or spending more time on yourself in self-reflection or personal growth. This pandemic has really caused a lot of pain along with a lot of personal growth in a lot of individuals. Have you seen that in your business, and have you helped people get past some of the limiting beliefs and challenges that they have?
Yes, we have, and we've seen a significant the impact on people as a whole. You see, Sherri and I, we say we're in the people business. A lot of people say that, but we really are. We live every day working with people and helping people and finding ways that we can help them. And here's the challenge, though, right? Is as leaders in our industry, and you as a leader in your industry, whatever it is that you're a leader in, quote unquote, is being able to be a futurist thinker, looking ahead to see what the impact's going to be on those that you serve or your business or whatever it might be. And pre-pandemic, when people were starting to get sick and COVID was becoming a reality, we surrounded ourselves with mentors. We have coaches for ourselves, and we work with those people closely as things were starting to happen, because it impacts everybody, including those of us that are leaders in the industry. And so the first thing we said is, what should we do? What can we do to make sure that we're available for people during whatever's going to happen? At the time, we had no idea. And we were encouraged. This is literally says, listen, we suspect that there's going to be shutdowns. We suspect that people are going to have this challenge of working remote. They've never done it before. There's going to be this whole self-awareness. There's going to be some space and time that people have always wanted. Now they have it. Now they don't know what to do with it. All this type of thing. And so Sherri and I sat down and said, what can we do to add that value to people so that we're always available? And that's what we did. We created no cost, complimentary webinars and masterminds on personal development, and just became available as much as we possibly could, more available. Yeah. And we saw that was very well received, and we were able to be there for people and help many during this last year, probably more than we have in our entire career. And I think that plays a part in understanding that as a leader, it is extremely important for us, and that is our responsibility and our duty and our burden to be there for other people, regardless of what it is that they need. And sometimes most of the time, what we do, we put people before profit. It's hard sometimes in a business, especially during the pandemic. Yeah. But when you do that, as you said before, it's like the law of magnetism. When you make the decision to serve other people and to give, it comes back around at some point. And that's not the why you do it. That's just the nature of how it works. So we've been very blessed in being able to help out so many people.
Yeah, and I just want to add to this, this particular time, this past year especially, really leveled the playing field out, and it really found out who were the players and the pretenders. And there were some folks in our own network that I thought, we thought that we're going to step it up, and next thing you know, they just kind of went away. Yeah. And it's like, So it's just very interesting of, again, it all goes back to who you surround yourself with, their intentions, their values, making sure that that lines up with your core values. And it just makes your perspective so much better. It really does.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have two choices, put it this way, you want to be doom and gloom and be, why is this happening to me? Or do you want to get yourself out of it and look at it and be like, okay, what lesson can I learn from it? What can I do to help others? Or how can I help myself?
Right. Starts there, right?
Right.
How do you get out of stuckness?
Yeah.
We call it the stuckness of the stuckness. You got to get out of it. And sometimes we always need people at some point in our life.
Some people just have a couch vacuum that just keeps them down. It's like, I got to binge watch another series of Netflix.
Yeah.
Right.
The reality is we are living it. And I was having a conversation yesterday with somebody. Actually, it was Saturday. I was having a conversation with Howard Kaufman, who owns, he's an entrepreneur. He owns this amazing mouth care product, Oral. And we were talking about the opportunity that has so many people able to go out and create something from nothing. Jack Conte, who owns Patreon, he built and created Patreon. They just raised another $150 million. And right now in history, you have a phone, you have communication, you have connection. You're in the East Coast, east side of the country. I'm on the other side of the country. We're connecting. We're having this engaging conversation, sharing some nuggets of knowledge and producing content. This is the most amazing time in history to be able to go out and create something from nothing, build it up, and help a lot of people do something. And that's my whole purpose, is if I can highlight you and you can have the experience to get on the show, which hopefully it was comfortable and easy access and it didn't cause any problems. No one lost an eye.
Yeah.
And the reality is that same experience, you can transfer that into an industry and a business.
Right.
And Tracy, the producer, was out there helping you, sending you messages and updates. And, you were able to find out where to go and when to get there and all of these things. Just like coaching, you have an opportunity to help someone get from point A to point B to point Z and everywhere in between, if they're willing and open to listen and pay attention to what's going on. Because I see nothing but opportunity, even in the challenges. And for anyone that's, thinking they can't do it, they won't do it, or they don't have this or that or the other thing, it's just a matter of exploring all of the opportunities that are out there and deciding what you're going to change in your world, because change requires changing, right?
Requires motion.
Right.
Yeah.
Get out of the comfort zone.
Get out of the comfort zone, folks. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Donna Dunn. Very interesting. Thank you so much. Kathy Spooner's in the room. Kathy, thank you. Love you always. And also, Donna Dunn says, so true. Helping ours does fill you up. And I love that. I'm stuck. I can't get up. Amen, Russ. Thank you, Donna. This is such a fascinating subject to me. And I know that you guys have done this for a long time, even though you look like you just got out of high school. So the reality
thank you for that. We've got two grown children and grandchildren. So yeah, thank you.
Dang. Yeah. Good genes, I guess. So the reality is what's on the agenda for you? What's in the future? And you talked about future, Lou, is this idea of being able to see the future and kind of map out what is going to take place next. So kind of take us through that journey from your perspective as it sits today.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Humans are very resilient people. We're very resilient people, and either way, we're gonna get through it. And here's the thing: whether it's a pandemic or whether it's something else, the reality of it is that we have control whether or not we stunt our own growth. And moving forward into the future, it doesn't really matter what it is we cannot control.
Yeah.
What matters is what we can control. And the only thing we can control individually is yourself, your thinking, your purpose, and your why, and how you're going to get there. That is what you can control.
Yeah.
And so moving forward, future thinking here, of course, we're not we're not fortune tellers or future tellers for that matter. But what we have seen over the years is people will find a way to get through it. Now, there is always going to be segments, though, of people that have really difficult time. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody really has that background or that support system in place. And we're talking business as well. There have been businesses, and I think that we're going to still see this challenge, that when we went remote, there were companies, we're talking medium-sized to large corporations, that they had a no work from home policy up until then. It was like not even considered.
Yeah.
And then when that happened, they had no choice. Well, they weren't prepared.
Yeah.
And even if they were prepared technically, technology-wise, they weren't prepared enough to manage remote workers because they had never been trained to do that, because they had a no work from home policy because they didn't want to, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna see now that transition go from that to, because now they had no choice, so they figured it out, and now they're realizing, wow, people are performing well overall.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, work more. But
I think Salesforce.com said they're never coming back.
Yeah.
It makes perfect
Large
sense.
corporations.
Why have the overhead? Why have the overhead if it works? And a great example, there's a company in particular, every worker is working remotely right now. And they had the CEO came on to make a major announcement recently to the entire company. And the big announcement was that they had invested in this large property to build this huge building so that everybody can go there when the pandemic is over. That's a challenge, right there. Right away, I'm thinking, hold on a second. Are you going in the right direction here? And it's because sometimes what we end up doing is, in our vision, instead of meeting people where they are.
Yeah.
And that's what we'll end up creating. We've seen companies over the years that's what happened, and they have failed miserably. I mean, Blockbuster. I mean, I can just go on about those, but
oh yeah, on and on and on.
Yeah, and it's going to happen.
Cameras.
Yeah. And so, to wrap that back up in a nice bow, focus on you as a person. A leader needs to develop who they are first. Our empowerment system, which is what there's a webinar we may talk about that we're doing. It's complimentary on empowerment leadership, and it's based on 10 principles that we have developed over the last 4.5 decades that we have found and sharpened, that realize that works. So we use this in our coaching and our training and our teaching and everything that we do, and we're teaching now this to other people. And the first principle in that system, in the empowerment system, empowerment starts with an M, not an EM. So we took the E out. Empowerment, 10 letters. Each letter represents a principle. That first letter, M, is me, because it all starts with you and ends with you. And that is one of the first ones we taught. So it's imperative that we lead ourselves first before we can truly lead and train other people.
I love that. And not every journey is meant to be the same. You know, there's no roadmap, there's no template, there's no diagram that says this is the way you need to be. And I think a lot of people get stuck in that model of you know, go to high school, graduate, go to college, graduate, get a job, you know, find a family, do something with it, and then live happily ever after. And it's not the model for everyone, and it's not necessarily the way life has to evolve. And everybody being unique and individual, it has to start with what is, because I wake up every day with gratitude, and I think what is going to move the needle today for my goals, my life. You know, when I try to create something every day, I try to learn something every day, and I try to help someone every day. And that's the basis of the way I live. And the reality is that served me well. And I've learned a lot. I've been able to meet great people like yourself and, receive some nuggets of knowledge and, inspiration from other stories. And I soak that in and I figure out, okay, well, what piece of that can I add to my life? What can I do to maybe change? It doesn't have to be a big change, 2 degrees, 1 degree, right, and make sure that I'm moving in a direction that's going to fulfill my desire to be happy every day or find a little piece of joy every day and be comfortable in the moment and know that the future is going to be unfolding in my
Love that.
In my life. And you don't necessarily have to be rich and famous to be comfortable and happy. You know, those things are not consistent with each other. So
no, they're not.
Wendy says, "Good morning, pirates. Welcome. The Admiral is collecting new pirates by pairs now."
That's right.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Oh, love you, Wendy. Thank you so much for being here. I get excited when I think about, change and learning and education. And it's really an empowering opportunity. And I encourage you and others anyone that has an opportunity to learn something new or see a new perspective. And that's why I do the Pirate Broadcast, is people like yourself that can, come on the show and inspire somebody, talking about your journey, talking about what you're doing. And sometimes someone somewhere is going to say, "That's pretty cool. I think I would like to try that. I would like to do that."
Right.
And that's the big why for me is allowing other people to see a new perspective.
That's good. And that's, I love how you talked about that, the empowerment piece, the empowered, being empowered. And we call that to be able to see your empowered future. And that's what we do. We help you get from where you are to where you intend to be. And where you intend to be is your empowered future. And the way you do that is number one, you create it yourself. Make a determination agreement that you're going to make this next year the year of your making, nobody else's. That's the beginning point. That's the starting point.
Yeah.
Right. Then you got to take that inventory of who you are. Who are you? What is it that you want? Write it down. Make sure you feel it. Make sure you see it. And then you got to take an inventory of those who are around you. Like we've mentioned, who you allow to speak into your life.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, step into your becoming. Because once you see it, once you feel it, once you've made those adjustments, now you're becoming or stepping into that new empowered future. And it takes effort. It takes work. We have
action.
It takes action.
Action.
We have a mentor of ours that he has he has this quote he says all the time, and it sticks with me every day. I'm going to pass it along to y'all. Success happens where you step, not where you stand. Stepping is action. Standing is stagnation.
Yeah.
Success happens where you step, not where you stand. So it takes action and movement. And whether it's connecting with us or anybody else for that matter, ask for that. Let's meet with us. You can pick up the phone and call us, email us, and we're not going to send you a bill for talking to you for half an hour. We want to get to know who you are and see what we can do to serve you. But we'd love to hear from everybody on that perspective. But movement, action.
Yeah. Grass grows where you water it.
Right.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
You got to nurture that influence. And also you have to understand, who do I need to become to get where I need to be, to feel like I've made the goals that I'm looking to accomplish. Any sport, any analogy,
right? Anything.
Life is practice. Life is a practice session, just like music. It's an instrument that you have to continue to practice at in order to improve on. So we don't just don't get there by thinking about it. So
nope. And you're going to fail a lot, and it's a matter of getting back up. And listen, it's okay if you don't know where to go. It's okay if you're not sure what the next step is. See, we've all been there.
Yeah.
There's people like us that are here that can help you through that process. We don't tell you what to do. You know what to do. All we do is guide you there.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask, because then you're going to get unstuck. That's the whole point.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here, Lou, Sherri. I just really appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the fact that you're here helping others in the world. And if you want to get a hold of Lou and Sherri, go to loueverettgroup.com and reach out. They have some material and some information that you can use to just kind of test out to see how it fits and feels in your world. And also know that we have the ability and the opportunity to change. We have the opportunity to grow and evolve into someone new, and just take that first step and get started, because, imperfect action is better than no action at all.
Right.
So let's make sure that we go out and do what we can to help others. Be kind, because you know what? Kindness is cool. Smiles are free. And we want you to enjoy the day. Thank you for being here, you guys.
Thank you,
You're
Russ.
welcome.
Appreciate the work you're doing, man.
Take care. And we'll see you next time. Enjoy the day. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join the Pirate Syndicate today.